Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Los Angeles fire still uncontained, triggers air quality warnings and health concerns. Police warn against looting. US imposes new sanctions to squeeze Russia's energy sector. Global market braces for impact. Greenland leaders ready to talk to Trump, urges respect for the island's independence aspirations, while Denmark to boost its military presence in Greenland. Meta access diversity programs joining corporate rollback, while Biden calls the decision to scrap fact-checking shameful. And in sports, Neeraj Chopra beats Pakistan's Arshad Nadeem to be named world's best male javelin thrower of 2024 in US magazine rankings. A series of deadly wildfires continue to tear through Los Angeles, burning down hundreds of buildings and forcing thousands to flee to safety. 6 simultaneous wildfires have devastated Los Angeles County neighborhoods since Tuesday, which have killed at least 10 people over and destroyed nearly 10,000 structures. Thousands of people have suddenly become homeless, and thick smoke has prompted US officials to declare a public health emergency. Firefighters are making progress in containing the Palisades fire on the western edge of the city and Eaton fire in the eastern foothills after fierce winds that supercharged the fires for days finally eased. In addition to the Palisades and Eaton fires, a blaze broke out near Calabasas. As fire rages, the authorities are also tackling a wave of looting in affected areas. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden affirmed full support of the White House in response to the ongoing fires and their impact.
We've got a long way to go, as we're out to hear from the governor and others. And while the winds have died down for the time, we expect they'll remain a threat until early next week. So we're going to keep working 24/7 to support state and local officials to fully stop these fires as soon as possible.
The officials issued air quality alerts and urged people to stay indoors in areas where smoke was visible. The schools cancelled classes and scientists warned about the fatal consequences of the wildfire smoke. Air purifiers are being sold at some stores along with residents taping windows to keep the smoke out of their homes. Environmental health scientists and doctors warned that particulate matter posed a hazard to people with pre-existing lung and heart conditions, as well as the elderly and children. Now, US has imposed its broadest package of sanctions so far, targeting Russia's oil and gas revenues on Friday in an effort to give Kyiv and Donald Trump's incoming team leverage to reach a deal for peace in Ukraine. The move is meant to cut Russia's revenues and reduce cities to rubble since Moscow invaded in February 2022. The sanctions are part of a broader effort as the Biden administration has furnished Ukraine with $64 billion in military aid since the invasion, including $500 million this week for air defense missiles and support equipment for fighter jets. US President Joe Biden said that new sanctions will substantially raise gas prices and would have profound effect on Russia's economy and reduce Putin's war chest.
The sanctions are imposed today because they will have profound effect on the growth of the Russian economy and make it more difficult for Putin to conduct his wars. It is probable that gas prices could increase as much as 3-4 cents a gallon, but it's going to have a more profound impact on Russia's ability to continue to act in the way it's acting in the conduct of war.
And the announcement comes just 10 days before Biden is due to step down and puts President-elect Donald Trump's incoming team leverage to reach a deal for peace in Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, fear and tension prevail in Greenland over the threat of annexation by the US President-elect Donald Trump. Responding to Trump's statement, Greenland Prime Minister Mute Egede expressed his desire to meet the US President-elect and talk over the matter, who has said he wants control over the Arctic island.
But we are ready to talk. I think we are both ready to increase our dialogue and reach out, and therefore also talk about the things that bring us together in the world we live in.
During a press briefing with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, he also urged Trump to respect Ireland's aspiration for independence.
We don't want to be Danes, we don't want to be Americans, we want to be Greenlandic, and of course it is the Greenlandic people who decide their future. I think there is a common understanding of that, and is also something everyone should respect.
Trump, who takes office on January 20th, said this week that US control of Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory, was an absolute necessity and did not rule out using military or economic action such as tariffs against Denmark to make it happen. US President-elect Donald Trump has been sentenced to unconditional discharge for his conviction last year on 34 charges of business fraud related to hush money payment to Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. The case against Trump stems from his efforts to cover up hush money payments made to Daniels to keep quiet about the alleged affair before the 2016 election. The next report tells us how this hush money case against Trump evolved.
United States President-elect Donald Trump faced sentencing on Friday after the Supreme Court denied his last-minute appeal on Thursday to halt proceedings in his hush money case. The court noted that the judge who presided over case has already said that he plans to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge, which does not carry any jail time, fine or probation. After the ruling, Donald Trump told journalists that he respects the court's opinion and termed the ruling an attack of a political opponent. The US President-elect said he will be appealing in the case and expressed confidence that justice will prevail.
I respect the court's opinion. I think it was actually a very good opinion for us because you saw what they said, but they invited the appeal, and the appeal is on the bigger issue. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out well.
Hush money case hogged international attention, and it goes back to the March of 2023 when Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, charged Trump, a Republican, with 34 counts of falsifying business records to cover up his former lawyer Michael Cohen's $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. This was to buy her silence just before the 2016 elections, allegedly, when Trump defeated Democrat Hillary Clinton. Prosecutors argued, given tardy nature of the allegations, the case was an attempt to corrupt the 2016 elections. Trump's attorneys claim that the immunity from prosecution granted to a sitting president should be extended to a president-elect, while Manhattan District Attorney rejected these arguments, saying that Trump was a private citizen when he was charged, tried, and convicted. It was a hard-fought battle for President-elect Trump, who pleaded not guilty. The trial played out against the extraordinary backdrop of Trump's campaign to stake claim on the White House. Trump called accusations of fraud, defamation, and sexual abuse an effort by opponents to weaponize the justice system against him and harm his re-election campaign. Interestingly, the hush money case was a mixed bag politically. Contributions to Trump's campaign surged after he was indicted in March 2023. During the trial, polling showed his standing among Republicans slipping after the guilty verdict. But the case faded after President Joe Biden's debate performance led him to drop out with much reluctance, with Vice President Kamala Harris replacing him on the Democratic ticket. This was followed by a shocking assassination attempt on Donald Trump at Butler Rally in Pennsylvania. How unlikely is it for President-elect to get jail time due to his advanced age or a lack of criminal history? Well, that's the big question. All this amidst Trump's spectacular election victory and looming inauguration, making a sentence of jail or probation even less practical or a remote possibility. Sakal Bhatt's report for DD India.
And justices at the United States Supreme Court have signaled skepticism towards the challenge brought by the video sharing platform TikTok as it seeks to overturn a law that would force the app sale or ban it by January 19. Friday's hearing is the latest in a legal saga that has pitted the US government against ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, in a battle over free speech and national security concerns. The law in question was signed in April, declaring that ByteDance would face a deadline to sell its US shares or face a ban. But ByteDance and TikTok users have challenged the laws constitutionally, arguing that banning the app would limit their free speech rights. During Friday's oral arguments, the Supreme Court seemed swayed by the government's position that the app enables China's government to spy on Americans and carry out covert influence operations. Following a week in which Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta was getting rid of fact-checking, the social media giant further announced on Friday that it is dismantling its diversity, equity and inclusion or DEI programs across the company, marking another major shift in strategy ahead of Republican Donald Trump's return to the US presidency. The move comes amid what Meta describes as a changing legal and policy landscape following recent Supreme Court decisions against programs that allowed for increased diversity priorities at US universities. In an internal memo to employees, the company outlined sweeping changes including the elimination of its diverse slate hiring approach and the disbanding of its DEI team. Other corporate giants like Amazon, Ford, McDonald's and Walmart have also pulled the plug on their DEI initiatives. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden on Friday criticized Meta's decision to scrap its US fact-checking program on Facebook, Instagram and Threads, describing it as shameful. Biden said that the move stands contrary to everything America is about.
It's just completely contrary to everything America is about. We want to tell the truth. We haven't always done it as a nation. We want to tell the truth. And the idea that a billionaire can buy something and say, by the way, from this point on, we're not gonna fact check anything. And when you have millions of people going online, reading this stuff, it is anyway. I think it's really shameful.
And Brazil on Friday gave social media giant Meta 72 hours to explain his fact-checking policy for the country and how it plans to protect fundamental rights on its platforms. Attorney General Jorge Messias said his office could take legal and judicial measures against Meta if it does not respond in time to an extrajudicial notice filed on Friday. Citing Meta's lack of transparency, Messias said the company will have 72 hours to inform the Brazilian government of its actual policy for Brazil. The decision to hand the deadline to Meta came after a government meeting overseen by Brazilian President Lula da Silva on the implications of the changes for Brazil. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's national capital, Delhi, likely to face heavy rainfall over the weekend. Ayodhya gears up for the first anniversary of Ram Temple's Pran Pratishtha ceremony. India's men's doubles pair of Satvik and Chirag all set for the semi-final action at Malaysia Open Badminton Tournament.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. The President of India, Draupadi Murmu, addressed the valedictory session of 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Convention and presented Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards on Friday in Bhubaneswar. Hailing the Indian diaspora as the best of our country, President Murmu lauded their contribution in diverse fields of technology, medicine, arts or entrepreneurship, which the world acknowledges and respects. Here's a report.
India's President Draupadi Murmu on Friday graced the valedictory session of the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. The event aims to honor the significant contributions of the Indian diaspora to India's progress and global image. President Murmu also presented Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards to 27 people. Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards is the highest honor conferred on overseas Indians. While addressing the event, President Murmu said, India is marching towards Viksit Bharat, a developed India by the year 2047.
Our nation today is marching towards Viksit Bharat, a developed India by the year 2047, when we will celebrate 100 years of our independence. This vision is not just a government initiative, it is a national mission that requires proactive and enthusiastic participation of every Indian, including those living abroad.
President also outlined India's vision for Viksit Bharat with its growing stature on the international arena.
Our vision for Viksit Bharat aligns with our growing stature on the world stage, particularly as a leading voice of the global south. It is guided by our timeless philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also attended the event and highlighted the contribution of Indian diaspora.
The Indian diaspora has made outstanding contributions to both India and the world in diverse domains based on your immense talent, creativity, dedication, commitment and perseverance.
This year's event reinforced India's soft power and its ability to influence global discussions on development and culture.
This Pravasi Bharatiya Divas once again proved to be a strong testament of the deep relationship that India shares with its diaspora. As the Divas comes to a close and the Pravasis or the overseas Indians go back, they tell us they're going back with a resolve to return soon, but more importantly, to become important stakeholders in India's growth journey. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention in Bhubaneswar.
And Ayodhya gears up for the first anniversary of Ram Temple's Pran Pratishtha ceremony. The Ram Janmabhoomi Temple, inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on January 22nd, 2024, marks 1 year since its operations began. Celebrations will take place from January 11th to 13th, with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath expected to attend and inaugurate the event. The Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust revealed that over 2 lakh devotees visited the temple on January 1st. The month of January also holds significance, with Mahakumbh in Prayagraj expected to draw massive crowds to Ayodhya. And Prayagraj, one of the sacred pilgrimage sites in North India, is gearing up for the Mahakumbh 2025, which is set to begin on the 13th of this month. A laser show was organized in Prayagraj ahead of the Mela. Grand laser and drone shows will be organized throughout the event, which will take place from 13 January to 26 February. Preparations are in full swing ahead of the gathering. Celebrated after every 12 years, the Mahakumbh attracts millions of devotees and travelers from across the globe seeking salvation and spiritual renewal. Weather updates now. After 2 days of sunshine, the national capital is likely to face heavy rainfall over the weekend. The Weather Observatory also stated that nights in Delhi NCR are becoming colder due to rapidly falling nighttime temperatures, while daytime temperatures remain stable. Apart from Delhi, light to moderate rain with thunder is expected in some parts of Rajasthan. Cold wave conditions also continue to persist in Kashmir as the region is currently facing a 40-day period of harsh winter. The Met Department has forecast mainly dry weather in coming days with the possibility of light rain or snow at isolated places on January 11th and 12th. We now tell you how climate change is pushing the planet's temperatures to levels seen never before. Scientists say the world has just experienced its hottest year ever, with temperatures surpassing 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels for the first time in 2024. The implications of this are far-reaching. Here's a report.
The world just experienced the first full year in which global temperatures exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial times. Scientists of the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service have stated that human-caused climate change is pushing the planet's temperatures to levels never before experienced by modern humans.
January to July has been the warmest on record. July was the second warmest, and then the from then on has been the second or close to first around. But when you put all of those together, then the trajectory is just incredible and sums up to the warmest year on record.
The planet's average temperature in 2024 was 1.6 degrees Celsius higher than in the 1850 to 1990 period, surpassing the previous record set in 2023 by a significant margin. This creates a 2-year warming spike that scientists are still trying to fully explain. Experts warn that these rising temperatures are pushing us closer to the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. Governments worldwide have committed under the 2015 Paris Agreement to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius to avoid catastrophic climate impacts. The first year above 1.5 degrees Celsius does not breach that target, which measures the average temperature over decades. But experts believe it is now clear that the Paris target will also be breached within the next 10 years.
We are steaming along a path of self-destruction. That despite all the efforts being made by a number of well-meaning countries and entities, that will remain way off the target of what is required to keep global warming to 1.5. And it's just so sad that despite all the warnings that scientists have given, that nations across the earth, many of which are based in rich countries, are continuing to fail to live up to their responsibilities.
The impacts of climate change are already being felt across the globe, with deadly wildfires in California, devastating floods in Nepal, and heat stress affecting nearly half the planet. Rising temperatures have also led to more intense storms and rainfall. Political will to address the crisis remains weak. As greenhouse gas emissions hit new record levels in 2024, the need for urgent action has never been clearer. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And India's Neeraj Chopra has been named as the best male javelin thrower in the world in 2024 by globally renowned American magazine Track and Field News. Neeraj settled for silver medal at the Paris Olympics 2024 after losing gold medal to Pakistan's Arshad Nadeem. Along with that, Neeraj defeated two-time world champion Anderson Peters of Grenada for the top spot in 2024 rankings. Nadeem was ranked 5th as he competed in only one event in 2024 besides the Olympic Games. He finished 4th in Paris Diamond League. Chopra was also the top ranker in men's javelin throw rankings of 2023. And India's men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty will face South Korea's Kim Won-ho and Seo Seung-jae in semi-finals of Malaysia Open Badminton Tournament on Saturday. The Indian duo defeated the Malaysian pair of Yu Sing-ong and Ee Ye-teo 26-24, 21-15 in 49 minutes. In the first game, Indian pair took an early lead in a tight 28-minute contest. The Malaysian pair fought back in the second game, leading for most of the time until the interval. However, the Indian pair levelled the score at 11-11 and then seized the lead after the break to book their spot in the semis. An Indian pacer, Varun Aaron, has announced his retirement from all forms of cricket. Aaron, who announced his red ball retirement last year, has ended his white ball career too, following Jharkhand's exit from the ongoing Vijay Hazare Trophy. Aaron made the announcement on social media and thanked the BCCI and his state team, Jharkhand State Cricket Association. Aaron played 9 Test and 9 One-Day Internationals for India, taking 29 wickets across 2 formats. His last match for India was against South Africa in a Test match 9 years ago. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.